Michael, an avid collector of trading cards, came across a peculiar booster pack at an old, run-down stand in the corner of a forgotten flea market. The pack, worn out and bathed in dust, was labeled Forbidden Forest. Intrigued by the name and the allure of uncovering some rare cards, he decided to purchase it. Later that evening, Michael eagerly tore open the booster pack. Most of the cards appeared ordinary, albeit slightly outdated. The hare's eye squared beta negation beta's image appeared almost lifelike, with its eyes seemingly following Michael's every move, its expression a mix of mischief and malevolence. Its stats were feeble, yet its description mentioned summoning creatures from a place called the Forbidden Forest. That night, Michael couldn't shake off a growing sense of unease stemming from the card. When he finally drifted off to sleep, a series of vivid, disturbing dreams ensued. In the dream, Michael stood at the edge of a dark, dense forest. Whispers echoed from within the trees, and glowing red eyes peered out from the shadows. And then, emerging from the mist, was the rocket hare. It beckoned him to follow deeper into the Forbidden Forest, its eerie chuckle resonating through the night. Awakening drenched in sweat, Michael dismissed the nightmare as the after-effects of a late-night card game marathon. Shaking off the lingering dread, he resolved to put the card in his collection binder. As he reached for it, he noticed something odd. The rocket hare seemed to have moved slightly within the card frame, its pose more menacing than before. Convinced he was imagining things, he placed it securely in the binder and decided that a good night's rest away from his growing obsession was in order. The following day, everything seemed normal until Michael began to notice scratches and small marks on various items around his house, as if tiny claws had raked across them. The marks became more prominent and widespread, unsettling him. Trying to rationalize the phenomenon, he chalked it up to his frayed nerves post-nightmare. That night, the dreams returned with a vengeance. The rocket hare appeared again, more animated than before, its once playful demeanor turned sinister. The whispers in the forest were now distinct voices, chanting in a language Michael couldn't comprehend. He ran, but the more he tried to escape, the more he was drawn deeper into the forest. Most references seemed benign, until he stumbled upon an obscure forum thread. It detailed a cursed set of cards that forced the owner to confront the creatures of the Forbidden Forest in their dreams. The only way to break the curse was to find someone willing to take the card willingly and continue the cycle. Fearful but determined, Michael decided to test the theory. He called up his friend, David, under the pretense of showing him some rare finds. Late that evening, Michael casually mentioned his new acquisition. David, intrigued and unaware, expressed his interest. Relieved and guilt-ridden, Michael handed over the card. That night, for the first time in weeks, Michael slept soundly with no dreams of the Forbidden Forest. He woke up feeling a strange amalgamation of clarity and sorrow. Although he had broken free of the curse, he couldn't I-squared beta negation beta T help but feel remorseful for what might befall David. Days turned into weeks, and Michael noticed David becoming increasingly paranoid and withdrawn. One day, David called Michael, his voice trembling, revealing that each night the dreams of a terrifying forest and a haunting hare grew more intense. Michael, bound by guilt, confessed the truth about the card. They decided that destroying it might end their ordeal once and for all. Gathering that night, they set the rocket hare card aflame. As the flames consumed the paper, a piercing shriek filled the air, and for a moment, the image of the forest and the hare materialized before them, then dissipated into the night. From that day forward, the disturbing dreams ceased, and the marks around their homes vanished. The nightmare finally ended, leaving only the haunting memories of their brush with the Forbidden Forest and its sinister rocket hare.